Welcome.
Thanks for coming out. Nice to see so many people back at the trade shows. It seems like it's been a lifetime that we've not been here. When Andy suggested the title for this talk, New Adventures in Wallpaper, I thought it was a little bit dramatic, but when I actually think about it, wallpaper is a little bit of an adventure, particularly for designers. The start, the inspiration, the creation, the consideration of the process, and then taking that product to market, I always thought was a bit of a journey, but it is more of an adventure and quite a rewarding one. And I thought the best way to convey that and inspire other potential wallpaper designers would be to get some designers to explain it themselves. So very briefly, if I get the clicker right. Okay, introductions, all in the wrong order. Zoe Pocock from Muck and Brass. Jamie Watkins, I forgot your surname, sorry, from Divine Savages. Some of our designers are actually duo teams, but because of spacing restrictions, we only have Jamie from Divine Savages. We are missing Tom. Ellie from Hamilton Western is representing Flora Roberts with the design on the wall to your right. Keith from Mini Moderns, also missing his other half, Mark, Keith and Keith, and Molly Mahon, who is Molly from Molly Mahon, all by herself. Thanks, guys, for coming and sharing your experiences. Clicker's not working. Okay, so the wallpapers around us are mostly the work of these guys. There are some from designers that aren't actually in the hall today, but they are exhibiting. Timorous Beasties, the wallpaper behind you. There's wallpapers outside from 1838. The rather unusual burlesque ladies on the wall. Graduate collection, they couldn't be here today. But if you have any questions about any of the patterns on the wall, please talk to me later on. Should we touch on the wallpapers, guys? Zoe?
Yeah.
Yours
Yes.
in the corner?
Yes.
Where on earth did that come from?
So if you turn around and look at that wonderful mint in the corner with a lovely young guy sitting in front of. So that is actually my new design that actually hasn't launched. It'll be launching in a week or two. It's actually a take on my first ever wallpaper about 4 years ago. So some of the elements are from that. It's very popular, that wallpaper. And I've added some new elements from the last 4 years. But the main thing about it, I wanted it to have an impact quite far away, as well as being close up, which sometimes with wallpaper, you don't get that different view. So that was the main thing with this new design of mine. So some of the elements are bigger, and you get a different perspective when close up and far away.
It's an unusual thing. When you're working on a pattern quite close up on screen, it's only really when you get it on the wall it comes to life and you get an idea of the scale.
Exactly. So I would encourage you to go and have a look closely and see some lovely little elements there. Also, it's the first time I've gone with a textured mica finish, which I think really lends itself to this new design, and the colour is quite a lovely satin sheen. So I'm really proud of it, and it's actually the first time I've seen it up on a wall today. Cool. So I'm very excited.
Jamie, could you tell us a bit about Deco Martini?
Hi. This is our Deco Martini print, this one here on the left, my left. It was actually our first wallpaper design when we launched almost 4 years ago. And then more recently, we wanted to reinvigorate some of our kind of most popular designs, and we switched from digital to more traditional in order to add the metallic element. So this design's kind of come a long way and evolved over the years with us as a brand, but it's our kind of Divine Savages twist on the traditional Art Deco fan motif, but including our favourite cocktail. So again, kind of like Zoe mentioned, we like to add kind of those details to our wallpapers and kind of have a bit of fun with our prints and be a bit playful. So that's Deco Martini.
I love it.
Thanks.
Yeah, it was an absolute joy to hang as well. It's beautiful. the way it
Yeah, a lot
goes
of
up,
people comment on
Yeah.
the quality
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
print from you guys, and so easy to hang and available
Cool.
in loads of colours now. So
Yes. Thank you. Hi, Ellie.
Hi, Jason.
Tell us about Flora's
Yes.
creation.
So this is a design called Peony Garden, and this is an exclusive. So you are the first to see this. It's by an artist, fantastic painter called Flora Roberts, and it's a wide width paper. And this is all based on her original hand painted artwork, and it's going to be part of a brand new collection launching in the spring next year. Some of you may have seen her first collection that we launched a couple of years ago. This is sort of speaks Flora Roberts. If any of you are familiar with her paintings, this is her.
I remember going to meet Flora for the first time in her studio, and she was working out of a relative's bedroom, and she paints actual size. So she had a great big 3 meter length by 1 meter on the floor, painting it on the floor.
Yeah.
It was quite some feat, because it does. I think that was a panel set. It didn't repeat straight away.
Yeah.
It's a big scale job.
Yeah, it all lends itself to panel style, murals, wide width papers. So we try and reproduce things exactly as the artist intended. That's
Right.
really important to us. Translating their handwriting into wallpaper.
Beautiful.
So you've got a piece of artwork on your wall,
It is.
effectively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's on
lovely.
the new eco non-woven.
Thank
which
you
is
for that.
exciting.
Thank you for that. We'll get to that right at the very end. This we'll explain the details later, but that wallpaper that is printed on contains plant fibres. Most non-wovens have a polyester fibre in them. We've worked with a European mill over the last 4 or 5 years to take the plastic out of non-woven, and this is the very first. Quite exciting. Cheers. Keith, hello. Hello. Keith saved us this weekend. We ran out of wallpaper, and
It's a shame we didn't provide with one with matches, though, isn't it?
I like it. I like the contrast. It's cool. So, mini moderns. Tell us a bit.
Well, the 2 wallpapers over there are from our culture collection. Since we started in 2006, we've worked with a lot of museums and art galleries, created collections from museums, art galleries and heritage organisations. So when we did our culture collection, we went back to the people that we used to work with. So the Bauhaus print is a celebration of 100 years of Bauhaus when we launched it. And our Lucky Lantern print is a print based on the 1890s parlour room set, which sort of celebrated the aesthetic movement. And it features the Chinese 3 friends of winter. So there's bamboo, cherry blossom, and then the shading on the lantern is pine needles, which is another one of the friends. And we sort of chose to do flexo with it because it really kept all the details of the shading for the pine needles around and the tassels of the lanterns. So it was the best thing that the best option of production that we could get on it, really. And it also adds a bit of warmth. Flexo, because our prints are all very, very graphic, the flexo techniques also, as well as detail, adds a lot of warmth to your patterns as well. Otherwise, we'd be just too sharp.
Yeah. You get a lovely patina to the print mark, don't you?
And
that you
especially
don't
when
really
you
get.
on different substrates as well, you can really build on that.
Marvellous. Thank you. Molly, tell us about strawberries.
Well, I wasn't sure how much I can say now. We're going to come back round with the microphone to talk about the process a bit more.
You could touch on the
Can I
process.
touch?
But where
Because
did it come from
that's-
originally? Was it a fabric?
So, well, I think it's worth explaining that I'm a block printer, and all my designs are drawings that I do in my studio in Sussex, and then they turn into either lino or wood block prints. So I'm always working on quite a small scale. It has to be manageable within a 20 centimetre wooden block. And all of my fabrics are hand block printed in Jaipur in Rajasthan. And it was interesting that I went into fabrics because that's very accessible and that's something that I could actually print in my studio in Sussex. wallpapers are actually much more challenging to hand block print. And one of the first things I ever did was actually print lining paper with a great big lino print with emulsion paint for a shepherd's hut, so on a very small scale. But when it came to printing these larger quantities, it became much more challenging. And I have a range of wallpapers, but they're all digitally printed, and so we keep the mark of the block print finish, and we keep the kind of essence and the feel of it. But using this new method that I've just done recently with Jason and surface print's been really, really exciting, because what I'm getting is a finish that's much, much more similar to a block printed texture. And so that's my wallpaper over there. It's called Strawberries. It's actually based on a fabric design that I released earlier this year. And we're not launching this officially until the spring. So we're getting a bit of a sneak peek. And again, I think like so many of us, it's lovely to see it up on the wall. This print for me is one of my more challenging ones, because with block printing, for every colour you print, you need another block. And so this has got 5 colours in it. So it's been one of my sort of more ambitious designs. And I think it's been growing in my mind for some time, but it felt really relevant right now to do something that was nostalgic and cozy, and sort of gives us reminiscent feelings of good times, picnics and families. And I think strawberries kind of symbolise all of those things. So it's been a real joy to create this as a wallpaper, but I think we're going to talk about the process in a bit.
Yeah. Yes. Thanks, Molly. Yes, okay, right. Who wants this one? Why wallpaper? What, as a designer with your established brands, what does wallpaper bring to your party? So, Jamie, do you want to go with this one? Not that I've primed
I'll kick
you.
it off. Yeah, so wallpaper for us was just, so it's myself and then Tom, who works behind the brand at Divine Savages, and he has a background in kind of more on the textile side and fashion. But we felt that translated very easily to wallpaper. We were just starting to decorate our first house, which is why kind of the interiors angle worked for us when we decided that we wanted to kind of do something together and set up our own business. So that kind of worked, and we kind of chose wallpaper really because for us we're all about kind of encouraging a kind of bolder, braver use of colour and print. More pattern in your home, as I mentioned, kind of more personality in what you do. And wallpaper, I think, is key to that. It's just so easy to make a big transformation in a space by using wallpaper.
So yeah, compared to fabric now, how big a part of your business is?
I mean, wallpaper for us is like, that's really what we've become known for now as Divine Savages. So. And we're only coming up to 4 years old this month, and I think we've got about 9 or maybe even over 100 different wallpapers and colour variations now. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely kind of the big part of who we are.
There's a lot of love for wallpaper at the moment.
Yeah, I think maybe other people can talk to it, but I think over the past 4 years, certainly since we came to the market with the rise of social media, Pinterest, Instagram, I think everyone is becoming a bit more adventurous in their design, and wallpaper definitely is the tool to help you do that.
Thank you. Ellie, you have the mic in your hand
Hello.
now. You do represent and distribute for Flora, but Hamilton Weston are known for other wallpapers.
Yes.
Yeah, would you like to elaborate?
So yeah, the clue's in the name, I suppose. Hamilton Weston Wallpapers is a company that's been around for 35 years now, established by a husband and wife team, Georgina Hamilton and Robert Weston. Our archive, we've got a huge archive of original period designs, all collected over a number of years, from period properties, historic houses. So that's the basis of what we do, is reproducing designs from the 16th, 17th, 18th centuries. So we've got collections like Paradise Restored that we launched very recently, recolouring these sort of heritage designs in contemporary colourways.
You do quite a lot of film set
we do,
papers as well, don't you?
So anyone, clients, all sorts of clients, but production designers who are looking for accuracy in design in terms of, things that would have been found in the. We did a film recently that was set in the Victorian times, and so they needed something that really spoke of that era. And we've got hundreds of Victorian papers, and so having that choice, we can do recolorings, we can change the scale, so there's that flexibility as well for those who want to be a bit more creative, and kind of bridging that gap, I suppose, between historic designs to now.
She'll probably lynch me for saying this, but I think Georgina's here.
She's over there.
Georgina? Hello. Georgina has the greatest wealth of knowledge for wallpapers of any person I've ever met. I'm sure you wouldn't mind chatting to a few people after, maybe? Thank you. Okay. Zoe, do you want to grab the mic off?
Absolutely.
Yes. Right. Why
So,
wallpaper?
well,
Because you do some other things besides wallpaper.
Yeah, I was going to say, as an artist,
Yeah.
wallpaper doesn't define my brand, but what wallpaper has done is, well, because I started off making, and still do, make smaller items like lamps and furniture, and I used to surface print design for my furniture on smaller items, but what wallpaper has done is enabled me to finish the scene. And see my work in a bigger medium, and also customers love to see my designs. They've had prints or they've had the furniture, and now they're able to have the wallpaper. So, just for me as an artist, just seeing my art on a bigger scale, yeah.
So was it customer demand that prompted you?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, what I didn't want at the beginning was to suddenly bring out. I've always wanted to bring out my own designs in wallpaper because I used to use a lot of other people's designs on my furniture.
Right.
And then I got to the point where the designs I wanted to use were not there.
Okay.
So I thought I'd create them myself. And that's how it started. And now it's developed into a different love. I mean, now I'm designing wallpapers with a different view, like I mentioned earlier about, looking at a wallpaper close up and then looking at it from, in a bigger room. That's really important to me, whereas that never occurred to me when I was making smaller designs for furniture. So
right. Yeah, get it?
it's being an artist and seeing your work on other mediums, I think.
Satisfying.
Yeah,
really cool. Keith, wallpaper. Why?
Before we were Mini Moderns, Mark was a designer maker, a Hackney designer maker, and he sold in Gallery Lafayette. And I was a print designer for Red or Dead, if anybody's old enough to remember Red or Dead. And we met at a branding agency, and we entered a designer wallpaper competition, and we won. So we were dealing with quite horrible clients during the day and designing wallpaper at night. And we just went, oh, enough. We like the wallpaper world more than we like the branding world. So we kind of started in 2006 full-time as wallpaper designers. And I think that everybody here would just sort of say that as a designer, there's nothing that feels better for a designer to know that people are living with your things every day of their lives.
Right.
They've chosen your design, and they see it every day, and it's part of their home. That's just the best thing about why wallpaper.
It's a buzz. Yeah, I didn't know you worked for Red or Dead. That's going to be an interesting
I was there
chat
for quite
later.
a long time.
But
Yeah.
Did you stay in touch with Wayne at all?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is at the vintage car boot today. So
Right.
yeah. But we keep in touch. Wayne and Geraldine were like amazing people to work for.
Yeah.
Without them, I don't think we'd have set up our own brand, because they were independent and they showed everybody that we did everything. So so setting up our own business wasn't frightening. So we did production, we did design.
Right.
We were in charge of our own budgets. So then moving into setting up our own business, it didn't seem very daunting at all, and they're like really encouraging.
Mini Moderns are actually exhibiting in the hall if you want to go and check out their new
With G135.
collection. They have a preview of this new collection. So. Molly, you've touched on that you started out primarily in fabric. How important has wallpaper become?
Oh, I thought you were going to say why wallpaper, and I was going to say why not wallpaper.
Oh, spoilt it for you.
I
Sorry.
just think but I just think it's the most brilliant way to inject energy and character into a room. We have, I live in a 4-bedroom little cottage, and every single one of our bedrooms has wallpaper, and each room therefore has a sort of very individual feel. And there's something incredibly nostalgic about wallpaper. As a child, if I stayed in a home that had lovely wallpapered bedrooms, there was something really special about that, and it would stay with me. I think I tend to paint my downstairs rooms more, unless it's the downstairs loo. But otherwise, I just think it adds a lovely, lovely feeling to go into a bedroom that's got a wallpaper on it, and it just totally makes sense to me. So. Yes, it's been a really interesting journey to translate what was block printed fabrics onto wallpapers, but it's working very well at the moment.
Beautifully, yeah, they do. Okay, what's my next daft question? Where do you start? Yes, inspiration. Do we stare at the sky and see pattern? You've got the mic. Keep going. Yeah.
Okay, keep going. I see pattern everywhere. I see it all the time. I'm heavily inspired by nature, and I find that leaves and flowers and blooms inspire me to make pattern and colours. I live very near Charleston, a farmhouse down in Sussex where the Bloomsbury Group lived, and that's been an incredible place for me to go and pick up inspiration and ideas and colour palettes. And I also now regularly travel to India because of a lot of my things being block printed. And that, again, in itself has been an enormous place. And I think when it comes to designing anyway, you can be inspired in so many ways and find inspiration in so many places. And it's just sort of opening your eyes. But I see pattern all the time, and I build my designs in my head. I was really interested. I was reading something the other day that Nisha Crosland creates all her patterns in black and white. But actually, I see mine in colour.
Right.
So with the strawberry pattern, I very much saw the colours that we've achieved there in my head as I was drawing it. I start with pencil and watercolours, so again I can access the colours I want quite quickly and get them down onto paper. But inspiration is not a problem. Pattern design is not a problem. It's just finding the ones that really work and can be translated into block prints for me.
It's quite a science to pattern as well, isn't there? The mathematics behind it, what works and doesn't.
Well, I have to say, I didn't do GCSE art or art A-level. I am self-trained, so I don't know of any rules or mathematics. Yeah. For me, it's a gut reaction. Does it feel right? Does it look balanced? So I think probably some others here will have a different reason behind that. But when I'm working, it's very personal, and it's just about making it feel right. Is it comfortable to the eye? Do the colours work together? That sort of thing.
Everybody's nodding.
I don't know.
It's from the gut, isn't it? Yeah.
You explain if you're more. Go on, your turn.
I was just going to
Jamie,
say that so I don't actually deal with the design side, so it's my husband Tom that is the creative side of the brand, but he kind of, he gets inspired by most things. Living here in London, we have access obviously to exhibitions, museums, festivals. Our inspiration comes from lots of different places, but again, nature is a big part of our designs. And actually the Deco Martini is probably one of our more kind of classic looking prints. If you check out our other work, then it's much more kind of bold, maximalist. We do a lot of kind of collage blending of kind of vintage illustrations with kind of new elements that Tom adds. So we do quite a varied collection.
And does he draw everything by hand? All the elements start?
So it definitely starts mostly by hand, and you'll often find him sketching stuff down in a notebook on the way on the train down to visit family or whatever, and it kind of evolves from there. But then he's very much designs then digitally. He has a kind of trackpad with a digital pen, and the kind of designs evolve from that. And especially kind of working digitally for us, it's very simple then to change colours, experiment with scale, and again I think we'll come to more of the kind of different processes, digital versus traditional in a bit, but that is very easy for us with the way that he designs things.
Okay, thanks. Keith, you were avoiding the mic.
Pass the mic. I wasn't
we had a funny
nominated.
conversation yesterday about inspiration and travel.
We're quite unusual in, well, if you knew us, you know that is a statement. We're quite unusual. But we're quite unusual in the way that we actually start work. We don't start work with anything visual. We're very inspired by mid-century design, but we love sort of social history and culture, and we have lots and lots of different television and films and books. And so because of our kind of fashion past, we start like our collections like a fashion collection. Nothing's visual. We have phrases or moods that we want to kind of build, and then we kind of can just start off with a phrase or a word. We usually have the title of our collection sorted before it looks like anything else. So just for example, we did a collection called The Buddha of Suburbia, and we decided that we'd base it on the book by Hanif Qureshi, and we chronologically went from the beginning of the 70s to the end of the 70s as the book charts, and we tried to express the story throughout our collection of wallpapers. So we'll do something more conceptual like that, as opposed to anything that might be on trend or whatever. We have to really feel it. We call it pattern with a story, and everything has to really, really mean something to us.
Yeah. It's a little bit different for you, isn't it, Ellie? Is it?
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. For us, it's all about the story and the provenance. So, as I mentioned before, we've kind of got two sides of what we do. We've got the historic side. So, each fragment that we pick up has got a background, and we really, really enjoy researching that side of things. And it's that really takes us and inspires us to reproduce a pattern. So, we were approached by the architects who were restoring Sandicombe Lodge, which is JMW Turner's fishing lodge in Twickenham, just outside London, and that was reproduced from a tiny, tiny little fragment that just fell from the attic, literally kind of floated down. One of the builders picked it up, and you don't need anything else. That's your starting point. So with the historic side, you've got the essence there.
And that was Robert's passion, wasn't it?
Yes,
The finding
that was
fragments.
Robert.
And when I first met
architectural
Robert,
historian,
he had this fabulous fragment, quite a large one on the wall, Swakely's, that he'd pulled out of a skip. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, I think it was destined for the bonfire.
It was on a bonfire. Yeah.
A big house in Ickenham was being, it's in the process, I think, still being restored, and they've ripped out the panels, and this chinoiserie was pasted onto these panels, and they've been ripped out and left.
Yeah.
The builders didn't know what it was, and he picked it up because he was, had a fantastic eye for these things, and it's thanks to him we've got this amazing archive of original patterns. But with floras, it's slightly different. It could be, going back to what I think you were saying, Keith, is just kind of an essence, so a feeling. So she might start with, I don't know, just the idea of autumn and the atmosphere that brings, and that will be her starting point. And that's very much part of the new collection that you'll see next year.
I really want to know where your inspiration comes from, Zoe.
I was going to say, anyone who's seen my designs, you might be thinking, where's she going to get her inspiration? Like, where's she visiting? Because you want a ticket. So I'm really lucky. I can do whatever I want as when I come to design, because I make my own products. So I'm actually quite simple and easy, believe it or not. So when I have an idea and I truly believe it, I just go with it. And it's almost like a childlike view. Like if I like a gorilla, if I like, a flamingo with legs and high heels and whatever, I have it in my mind and I just go. And actually it turns out that it makes it very simple for me. I don't overcomplicate my ideas. I know what I like. And I just go for it. And I'm sure, I don't know where they are, Surface Print will back me up here and tell you I'm very easy to work with, but it might look like I'm not. But I am one of the easiest because, I know what I like. And inspiration, to me, it's not really inspiration. I just find I problem solve more than find inspiration. So
So you make problems for yourself and then solve them.
I don't have any problems. Okay. No, so I just saw a gorilla. I thought it needs to be pink, it needs to be a lamp, and I made it. And it's my most popular thing ever.
Brilliant.
I want to put it in a wallpaper, and I'll just do it. So I'm actually quite simple. I like certain things. I know what I like, and I just go for it. But yeah, a lot of my work, being an artist or a designer, I do problem solve with products.
Right.
And then it flows from there.
Marvellous. Thank you. Next process. Okay. Print process. Fundamental question. Okay. Do you design with a print process in mind, or do you design first and then find the process to fit?
Can I just finish that? It
Yeah.
sort of goes on from what I was saying. So for
Okay,
me,
yeah, carry on.
I have the idea, and then I let Surface Print just tell me the best way of doing it. So I don't claim to be knowing everything about wallpaper. That's their job. They are specialists in that. So I know what I want, and they tell me the best way of doing it. That's me. Very simple.
That's a really good answer. For us, it kind of goes both ways. Tom would start the design, and that's first and foremost. Again, kind of, this is what he wants the next wallpaper to be. And then from that, we'll kind of decide whether we kind of need to kind of go down the digital route, or would this benefit from the additional kind of craftsmanship and processes that you get behind a more traditional printed wallpaper. So for example, the metallics, we really wanted that kind of luxe feel with the gold paints, and we were only ever going to achieve that going down the traditional route. So it kind of varies as the design evolves.
Okay, so just in case you don't know, you can't as yet print metallic inks with digital print. You can print on a metallic background, but then you get an all-over metallic. In order to get a spot metallic, you have to go roller print. Okay.
We keep asking for it, don't we? But it's the technology's not there yet.
I'll bore you with the details as to why it can't happen later. But
yeah, we're very similar, I think. We sort of treat it on a wallpaper by wallpaper basis, I think. The Flora Roberts collection is purely digital. It just lends itself to her work. So I think I mentioned this before, but it's all her original hand-painted work, and trying to render that any other way would be incredibly difficult, expensive.
Yeah, the amount of colours and the scale of that,
How many
you
colours
couldn't
are in
achieve any other way.
Garden?
So I think it's 50 odd layers on the file.
So
yeah.
you get every little brush mark that Flora's made there, and you've really got her work on your wall. But with the traditional side, talking about our period papers, we do try to reproduce things as they would have originally been printed. But the digital just gives you so much flexibility, and we're more than happy to work with clients. It depends on the project, it depends on their budget, and then their lead time, and all of that.
Thank you. Keith, Flexo.
In general, we design everything with Flexo. I think it depends when you started up as a company as well. I mean, when we started up, we started designing wallpaper in 2004, and I know that you'll agree with me that digital printing at that time was nowhere near the quality that you have now. So for us, because we wanted to have that warmth to our prints, it was a very cold-looking process, so we naturally moved to Flexo to soften off our graphic prints and make them, warmer and more approachable and livable with. I think one of the brilliant things is working with Surface Print. It's not an advert. Is that
it's okay, plug away.
As well, we had an argument about you wanting us to flock something that we designed.
We did, we had a conversation
designed
last
as
night.
a Flexo, and we're still not doing it. So just take the brilliant thing is you might have one print process in your head of how you're designing, and it possibly is going to be a Flexo print, but they're working with Surface Print. They kind of tell you how you could push that a little bit further and maybe different substrates, or actually mixing it like flexo with surface, and or kind of maybe we'd get the best result on digital. So it's just really good to work with sort of experts that explain how you can get the best out of your designs, really.
Cool, thank you. I'll pay you later. You touched on traditional print and why you chose surface for strawberries, because it's very similar to the block printing. If everybody's got clean hands, I'd encourage you to have a little stroke, because you can actually feel the relief of the ink. You get this lovely lip in the ink, don't you?
Yeah, no, I was going to say, please do go and have a feel, because I think it's really exciting for me, because my first and foremost thing is that I am a block printer and I want everything as much as possible to be block printed. And I used to hand block print the wallpapers myself on a very small scale, and then whether it was a good or a bad thing, I became more commercial and I couldn't possibly print it on the level needed. And so we, as I said earlier, have had a lot of our designs digitally printed, and we've kept the feel and look of the block printed finish as much as we can. But I've been really excited to find surface print, because it's got the whole texture to it and it's got this tangible block print feel. And what I really love is that the way it works, it lays the paint down onto the paper, and it's never exactly the same. The way the rollers go round, dropping each colour on, you get what we call perfect imperfections, which is part of the energy of something that's block printed. It's sort of inherent in the design, and that's what I love about it. Each print is slightly different. And you get that sort of feeling with this surface print. It feels really, really similar. And actually, it was Jason, you informed me, it was created as a way of replicating block prints from India, wasn't it, originally, these rolling machines? And you're still using the same original machines.
Well, the machines, our surface machines, are over 100 years old, about 120 years old, and still making wallpaper. But going back to 1838, that was when the first wallpaper machine was invented. Prior to that, everything was block printed, normally on sheets and then pieced together on the wall. So, yeah, they're still going strong.
Yeah, no, they're a beautiful thing to watch. It's really sort of mesmerising watching the printing going off the machine. Incredible how quickly it happens. Block printing's very, very slow. So I was slightly startled at how fast. But it's brilliant, and it's just such a lovely, lovely finish. So, yeah, please go and look up close and appreciate it.
If we have designers in here that are interested in moving into wallpaper, we do encourage designers to come to the factory, and it's a good day out. You're made very welcome, and to see it in action is quite something. So I'm going to have to speed up a bit. I think I'm running out of time. I've got a bit carried away. Right, okay. Digital. You can't deny the demand for digital. It's a lovely thing. It's allowed many independent designers to enter into wallpaper, where the setup costs of printing traditionally could be otherwise prohibitive. For every roll, for every colour, you need a roller, and that roller is an investment. With digital, there's very little investment other than a proof, and there's very little requirement for minimum order. It's 12 rolls for digital, 100 rolls for traditional, so apples and pears. Digital as well allows you to do things that we've touched on before with scale and high colour, so it's come a long way from where it started out 10 years or so ago. Yeah, you would agree. And then you combine that with some really unusual grounds. There's some wallpapers behind you that are printed on paper weave and grass cloth that give it a completely different dimension. Having said that, you've heard the virtues of traditionally printed wallpapers. They're beautiful things. But one thing we do at Surface Print that you don't really find anywhere else is we combine those processes. So you can have a digital print on an air knife ground that's printed on a 100-year-old machine. There's a wallpaper out the back that's got a digital background with a flock print on top. There's really no limit to it. So it's good to combine the two. So I'll not ask anybody. I've done that bit. Okay. Yeah, and then just quickly, we touched on this as well, sustainability. we're passionate about our environmental responsibilities. We've invested heavily at Surface Print to install clean working practices. All our wallpapers are FSC certified. We scrub the water so it's so clean it can go back into the drain system. All the solids are taken out, removed, put in a skip and taken off to make breeze blocks. So nothing's wasted. The biggest development that we're quite proud of that we're launching at Decorex is this new plastic-free non-woven. There's polyester fibre in pretty much all non-woven product. Wallpaper, baby wipes, it's there. So we're trying to remove plastic wherever we can. This is, the fibres in this wallpaper have been replaced with plant fibres, and they're sugars that are extracted from corn, turned into a fibre, added to recycled paper and wood pulp, and this is the very first plastic-free non-woven. We do have samples, if anybody would like a little bit, just collar me at the end. Okay. I think that's question. Oh, back up one.
Also, one of the reasons why we work with Surface as well is that a lot of companies actually, because we print Flexo, a lot of companies actually print with solvent-based inks. And the reason why we kind of worked with Surface was that they use water-based inks to print, which is quite unusual in the wallpaper industry.
It is, thanks Keith. Both with traditional and digital, there are solvent solutions, but they're becoming less and less tolerable. You can still smell a year on a wallpaper that's been printed with solvent inks. It carries on emitting VOCs. So yeah, water-based is the only way to go, really. So, thank you.
As well, I was just going to say that wallpaper is probably, I think, in itself the most sustainable thing because it's built to last hundreds and hundreds of years, which is why we've got, so many wallpapers in our collection. It's the idea is that it's there and it's with you for as long as you're around, until you get bored.
The curious thing about this, actually, it is biodegradable and compostable, but not until it's off the wall and in the soil. So it doesn't deteriorate on the wall. So.
That's
okay. Right. Any questions? Can I grab a mic?
Thank you for having me.
Hello. This question's for Zoe Poker. What would you say has been your favourite design that you've made out of your wallpaper collections?
That's a tricky one. Oh, hello. That's a tricky one. I don't know. I suppose my first ever, the Chimerical Dark, just because when that arrived as a sample, it was so emotional because it was everything that was in my head actually on a sample that I'd never seen before and I'd never done it before, and that has been the best seller. And now we've got 5-6 colorways in that, and so yeah, I think that first one was like, oh my god, I've done it. I'm a big girl. I've done a big thing and done a proper like a Decorex thing and got a wallpaper out. So yeah, that was quite emotional for me.
Sadly, we've overrun a little bit. A surprise there. We will be hovering around, so if you've got any questions, please do come grab us. And like I say, we do have samples of the wallpapers left over from the install. So thanks for your time. Cheers.